Вітаю!
Welcome, colleagues. 254th day of heroic resistance of Ukraine. Here is Natalia Staroprava. We work from Ukraine Media Center. And let me invite Oleh Paska, Director of the Department for Education and Science of Lviv Oblast Military Administration. Please tell us what has changed in the system of education in the wartime and how educators are now helping teachers and IDPs. Thank you. So, the first thing I would like to mention is that under martial law, the system of education has started performing the functions which are necessary due to the situation. We reprofiled inclusive and resource centers, which are now dealing not only with children with specific educational needs, but since the first days of the war, they were involved in working with IDPs. And they were providing psychological support and consultations to these people. And with this in view, we made some promotion. We gave the leaflets out in the at the railway station and in the network, internet network. We had the address of those centers, and thousands of people got the necessary assistance. But this was too little. The challenges were huge. That's why we started retraining psychologists in schools. And we also started establishing an absolutely different system of psychological support, not just of pupils, school children, but of teachers. And in the future, we would also like to have the system for territorial communities, for them to also be supporting residents of territorial communities. For this, we need an absolutely different quality and experience, and the experience of Israeli psychologists came in handy. These psychologists are now working with our psychologists. The next stage would be establishment of the new system of work, which is now in the making. We are seriously working at this. Another focus that was shifted was the focus on IDPs, and the Oblast Military Administration allocated substantial funding, about 100 million, for the repair of hostels, dormitories, in order to create conditions for IDPs. Another focus of our attention, Olha will tell us about, is working with the funds, and you will feel how the approaches in the work of international funds or the Ukrainian regional funds changed. And another stage, another direction is work for the sake of supporting the army and the educators in the regions with active hostilities. And Ivan will tell you more about this. And let me give the floor to Oleh Kotovska, Deputy Director of the Department for Education and Science of Lviv Oblast Military Administration. Please tell us more about the cooperation with the international funds, how they are helping Ukraine now. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, the 24th of February, we were contemplating how we should arrange the process of humanitarian support of IDPs and children who have come to Lviv region. That's why we established the headquarters, and at the primary stage, we accumulated the resources there. These were resources related to food, medicines, sleeping bags, and other things like that. We were trying to support IDPs who were accommodated in our institutions of regional subordination and educational institutions, as well as in vocational educational institutions. That was the initial stage. And we saw that we have an opportunity to support other regions like Sumy region, Kharkiv, Kyiv region. We tried to also send such assistance to educators from these regions. That was the initial stage. And we also arranged the Ukrainian remote school, online school, which allowed children from the occupied territories and those staying abroad to study. And at the end of the academic year, we had the first graduation of such school children. So that was what our support was about. And at that period of time, we addressed donors asking for meeting some recovery needs of IDPs and children in our children due to the fact that they were affected by the war, and this support was really important due to their psychological traumas. We also had the training of psychologists, inclusive and resource centers, and that was arranged not only by our department but by charitable institutions and funds. Starting with the beginning of the academic year 2022-2023, we also launched the activity aimed at preparation for winterization, because we also understand that educational institutions will partially work in the online mode and maybe they will fully switch to the online format. So with this in view, we arranged support of teachers and bought laptops and tablets for them. The assistance was provided to us by charitable foundations and such large international foundations as Save for Children, which has 120 member countries, and UNICEF, which is present in 190 countries of the world, which means that now we are working systemically with the educational subcluster, which does the monitoring of the needs of our educational institutions, and it is in this format that we will keep working. Thank you, Olha. We will get back to you, and let me give the floor to Ivan Pykus, head of the Regional Department for Vocational Education and Training. Ivan, please tell us about the changes in vocational education and training in the wartime, and what are the figures in other and indicators in other cities of Ukraine. Good afternoon to everyone. Really, vocational education and training has become even more in demand. It has become more popular, and this can be stated because it was yesterday that the entrance campaign, admission campaign was over. We can see that we have an increase of 1,000 pupils who have come to vocational educational facilities. This confirms that parents and children understand that this country needs highly competent vocational staff, because in the period after the war they will have to recover and rebuild all the destructions caused by the enemy. And the system of vocational education and training is going to be really important. If we speak about the beginning of the large-scale, full-scale invasion, the system of education, including VAT, took this blow and shared the responsibility for the situation. And as my colleague has mentioned, we have provided a lot of beds, and today these beds are still in vocational educational institutions, and we will have more of these beds because we expect some more waves of IDPs. If we speak about assistance provided to the armed forces of Ukraine, to our army, which is rebuffing the enemy and keeping our sovereignty in our territories, at the field of education, the system of education is working here on an ongoing basis, and since the first days of the war, we started producing different defense items. These were anti-tank hedgehogs and different defense fortifications that we could provide. I mean, our electric welders could produce, or this was also about different buns, about bread, about food baked in our institutions by our cooks. And we keep providing this assistance. The institutions have arranged a conveyor assistance. They keep doing this. We don't need to tell them that they have to do this. They are just trying to meet the needs, the inquiries for which are coming from the front line. And from the very beginning, the Department of Education arranged a humanitarian headquarters, and this headquarters has been functioning up till now. We have a lot of inquiries and requests coming from different brigades of the army, and we are trying to also meet these needs. We organize different charitable fairs, auctions to provide assistance, and the assistance ranges from procurement of some inventory items, which are not very much expensive, up to quadrocopters and other more expensive items. So we do realize that now for educational facilities in the region to function, we need to help the armed forces, because this assistance to the armed forces is fundamental, because it is the army that is defending our territories, and we are doing our work here locally, and this is all interrelated. So our assistance for them is also very much relevant, and we will keep providing it till victory. Thank you. Colleagues, please, if you have any questions, raise your hands. Then tell us more how Lviv region and Lviv region educators are helping other regions of the country which need this assistance. Well, of course, we do realize that our friends, as we may already call them now, from the eastern regions and from the south of the country, were the first to deal with the blow. Well, before that, that was Kyiv and Chernihiv region, and we kept sending assistance packages there. Thus, were not some small packages by Nova Poshta, though we had cases like this as well, but these were fully loaded trucks with different inventory items and different assistance packages, which was demanded there. Then, now we keep communicating with Mykolaiv, Zaporizhia regions, with Kharkiv. We keep helping our colleagues, educators, with their requests. We trust them, we communicate with them on an ongoing basis, and we definitely know that the assistance really reaches the places where it is necessary, either the educational institutions or the guys who are defending our country. I would also like to add that Oleh mentioned the largest challenge among educators, which is the reform of the secondary education. What other challenges are you facing now? Well, first of all, it should be mentioned that on the 1st of September, the whole system of education from communities to the department have started ensuring secure conditions of studies for school children and for students. In Lviv region, we have 46 schools working in an online mode, and all the other schools out of 1,100 and somethings work in the hybrid format and in the offline format. So that was all about the synergy of parents, communities, and the Department of Education and the Oblast Military Administration and all the services that helped us, like police, the state emergency service. And as a result, we keep improving the conditions in which children are staying in bomb shelters, and this enables children to get high-quality education. The other direction of our work, well, you know that Lviv Oblast Military Administration has bought the called Shkolyariki. These are the buses. We did this to compensate for the buses that were taken to do transportation of IDPs and performing other tasks. That's why communities have got a fewer number of those school buses, Shkolyariki, and now we can say that this problem has been solved. Another important challenge is improvement of the quality of online education. You know that Lviv region is among the leaders in the establishment of the online system, and now we have 200 schools, which is 20% that are connected to the Moodle platform, and on Friday we're going to have a meeting on the efficiency of functioning of the system, and we will keep improving online education in the region and improve its quality in order to be able at any point of time to use this platform for the children not to be losing their time and to be able to study when there is no opportunity to have offline studies. Thank you, colleagues. Are there any other questions in the room? To conclude, I would also like to ask you how the Department of Education has reconsidered its functioning in the wartime and what new changes we could expect. Well, next year we intend to have a program of education development that will embrace a lot of things, and probably these things will come very strange for you, but the focus will be not only on that development, though it's going to remain trainee, but on the development of extra school activities, because it is extra school activities that ensure profilization of students. And you know, hobbies normally release the stress. So we need to involve children in different hobbies and different favorite activities for the children to be able to distract their attention from the stress and to be able to reach some self-fulfillment in those additional extra school activities. That's why the focus will be on extra school activity, like small Academy of Sciences, different sports events, environmental, eco-friendly activities, tourism, other things. Thank you. Let me remind you that these have been Oleh Paska, Director of the Department of Education and Science of Lviv Oblast Military Administration, Olha Kotovska, Deputy Director of the Department of Education and Science of Lviv Oblast Military Administration, and Pykus, Head of the Regional Department for Vocational Education. Thank you for this talk. Let me remind you that that's all for today. Follow our announcements and the resources of Ukraine Media Center, and let's keep together because we have